Wild and Free Healthy You podcast. This is Lenny Wennerstrom, common sense health expert, unconventional health coach, creator of LennyMotivates.com, author of 7 Simple Steps to a Crazy Awesome Healthy You, and your host of the Wild and Free Healthy You podcast. Your health is your number one asset. That's why on this podcast, we're going to talk about all facets of your health, mind, body, and spirit, which include unconventional strategies, tools, and solutions from a holistic point of view. Because without good health, there isn't much joy in life. If your gut always hurts, you have digestive issues, insomnia, brain fog, joint pain, suffer from thyroid and low energy issues, we're going to talk about it. If your heart hurts, you wonder what your purpose is, or you feel you are spiritually deficient, we're going to talk about that too. We'll talk about recipes and food, getting fit, staying youthful, organization of heart and home, setting boundaries, creating a morning routine that's productive. We're going to talk about it all because health is not just physical. We need balance. From inspiration, motivation, and expansion of mind, body, and spirit, my goal is to help you protect your number one asset, your health. My intention with this podcast is to inform, educate, have fun, and to make getting healthier as easy as possible because health really comes down to common sense. Once you know the scoop and the how-to, you can take action for yourself and your loved ones. Your health is truly your wealth, and I want to help you protect it so you can live the life that you want to live. If you like what you hear for each episode, please take the time to give me a 5-star review, comment, and share with your friends and family. This is how you can contribute to helping others, how the podcast will grow and reach more people, and how together we can inspire others to see the truth of our toxic world and learn how to navigate it with confidence and courage. Your suggestions for the show are always valued and welcome. We're going to have some fun along the way, and we're going to learn a lot. Don't forget to visit me at LennyMotivates.com to see what's new as I grow not only this podcast, but the site as well. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and all social media at Lenny Motivates. Now, be your biggest fan and your biggest cheerleader because it's time to protect your number one asset, your health. Thanks for listening and subscribing to the Wild and Free Healthy You podcast. Well, hello, you awesome and amazing peeparoos. Today is September 20th, 2021, and it's been a while since I have done an episode of my Wild and Free Healthy You podcast, and there have been many reasons for that. I didn't know exactly where I was going to take it and what I wanted to do, if I wanted to continue to interview people, which I will do. That's always of interest because I love to interview people. I am very much into health, as if you have been following me for a while, you know that's, I've coined myself the common sense health expert as of many, many years ago, because common sense has been missing from our world, in my opinion. It seems that seems to be, although things are changing, I want to say that on the front end, but it seems that people just, a lot of us weren't thinking for ourselves. We were going off of what everybody else told us to do. And we were also looking, and I include myself in that because there's a lot of programming that goes on. And when you recognize the programming, you can move away from that programming. And so I don't want to get so deep into all of this, but I just wanted to start this off by sharing with you that when you start thinking for yourself, everything, it can kind of seem difficult because if you think about it, we've been given the answers, right, from school, like the answers to the tests. I remember I would get so excited. Oh, they're going to give us the answers to the test. So we just have to show up a day early and then they'll give us the answers and then we can go take the test. It never made sense to me why they would give us the answers to the test because we're supposed to know it. But it really was just about learning the answers to the tests, to the questions. And that's called programming. So, because what you really want is to think for yourself. And a lot of things, there's just not one real answer. I just started this off this way because I don't really have any notes. In fact, I usually don't have any notes, but I wanted just to speak from the heart. And what I just said doesn't have a lot to do with where I'm going today. This is just going to be a very short episode on my podcast, just to reintroduce myself to you and see if you're interested in, what I have to share.
Health is always a very big issue for me. And one of the main reasons I decided to do this podcast today is because this is about my dog, IB Miel. It's I, capital B, and then capital Miel. So IB Miel. Miel in Spanish means honey. And my hubby named IB because it's like IB honey. IB a pain in the butt. IB this, IB that. Ivy it has been many, many months, about 5 months. She has been throwing up every single day. And so this does relate to the health part. And this also does relate to common sense health. And it has a lot to do with taking responsibility for your own health. And it has a super lot to do with the love of your pet, your animal, and what to do when your pet becomes sick. And so I don't have all the answers. I found out last week, we were told that she has her stomach, there was an ultrasound done, and we just couldn't figure out why she was throwing up every single day. And I did homeopathic, I did so many things. I did herbal. I'm an herbalist, and I'm a home herbalist. And so I contacted my friend who's a clinical herbalist, and so I've done so many things. I've done MMS and DMSO, which I think has been probably one of the best things that we did for her. And we've done, so I'll just explain where I'm going. I don't have any notes. I'm just sharing from the heart with you. So she is a Havanese. She's 11 years old, and she's white and cute. and her throwing up for the last 5 months has been very, very difficult. She's a difficult traveler because she has motion sickness, which we didn't know why she would. I mean, she didn't throw up before. She just started throwing up like the last 5 months. But then she started throwing up every single time we would get in the RV, and she would throw up immediately, like within, if not within before just us getting ready to go, then it would be within the first 5 to 10 minutes she would be throwing up. And so it's been a difficult road, especially because when you love your pet, who doesn't love their pet? If you have a pet, hopefully you love your pet and they are part of the family. And she's just been, it's been very difficult as she's lost about, she started off at 22 pounds. She was overweight, heading towards 23. And we have been working with that for a while. We feed her raw and as healthy as possible. Everything, we make her food, and then we add some other, I think it's kiwi peak, something like that, just so she gets some other, some beef and some other things. But we do her veggies and as much organic and everything that we possibly can, and all the supplements. It's a dog food recipe that we got. So anyway, we've been doing that for many years, and yet we found out last week that she possibly, and maybe even probably, has a tumor in her stomach that has gone into her small intestine. So right from the stomach into the small intestine. So she has a blockage. As of, I think, Wednesday or Thursday of last week, she has not pooped. And what happens when you don't poop is you auto-intoxicate, meaning your body just gets poisoned, because you have to eliminate. That's part of detoxification, which I've talked about a lot on my Facebook Lives and my Instagram. And detoxification is huge, water only fasting and all of those kinds of things. So we've done so many things for her, including, if you know who Dr. Jerry Tennant is, and he has a biomodulator and a biotransducer, which what that does is it adds voltage. His book series are Voltage is Healing, And he now has one called Voltage is Healing. His newest, Voltage is Healing, scalar energy. So I do believe that his instruments are scalar energy. If you don't know what scalar energy is, it can be used for the human in many wonderful ways. And it can be used as weapons against, well, not just humans, but any living thing, any living creature, which the universe is living. And so it can be used as a weapon, or it can be used for good, depending on the frequency. So we've been doing a lot of stuff for her. So at times she seems to have a lot of energy and be doing better. And then other times she just can barely move, and she doesn't want to eat. She doesn't want to drink any water, but yet we're still having to shovel herbal remedies and water and little things down her throat, which makes it very, very difficult, because if it is a tumor, whatever it is that's growing in her, which we have done x-rays and or an x-ray and an ultrasound, it is pushing up against her diaphragm and going into her small intestine. So now it's like, well, now what do you do? So I just wanted to share this with you, because I will continue to share her journey. I don't know if she will last a very long time, or if on this third dimension, or if she will transition. And where I was going in the very beginning with where I said I didn't know where I was going with my podcast, is I have always been very spiritual. And I shouldn't say I've always been very spiritual. Well, I guess I pretty much have, but I've learned an awful lot and become more of a spiritual teacher guide. I read the Akashic records, and spirituality is really important to me, because I understand when you say mind over matter, it's really consciousness. And when you are able to control your thoughts are things, literally. You are moving energy with your thoughts. So if you are thinking that you are not good enough, you are not young enough, old enough, pretty enough, tall enough, good enough, whatever it is, then you aren't, because that's what you're telling the universe that you want to not be good enough. And when you know that you are enough, then, and you know that everything is, that thoughts are things, and you can control those thoughts, and you decide what it is that you want to manifest, what you want to create in your reality, then that happens for you. So I have learned a lot about that, and that's something I really, really want to share, because there doesn't need to be any more suffering or struggle once you understand that. It does not mean that, and I'm talking about my dog Ivy, and how difficult this has been as a human, but we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And so this is kind of cathartic for me, and thank you for listening. I hope this is helpful to you in some way. I think the biggest part of everything is that when you tie everything together, that it is not about being it's not about chiding yourself for, if you're spiritual, you should understand, that everything is fine and everything is for your own good, because that is all true. When you are in harmony, that is the law, basically the universal law, to be in harmony, or be, in harmony with source, God, universe, whatever you want to call that higher power of which you are, that energy, because we are all of the one energy. All of us. I don't care whether you're a rock or a chest of drawers or a dog or you or whatever is listening to the sound of my voice right now. You are energy, and you are of the one energy. So we are all one. There is no separateness. As much as we can look in the mirror and see ourselves, that is that is an illusion, and it is a hologram. And that might sound crazy to you right now. Maybe to many of you it doesn't, just because if you are on my newsletter, which is at lennymotivates.com, that's LYNNIE motivates.com. So sign up if you aren't, and you'll get more of these ramblings. But I there's really nothing to tie in, with the exception that where I was going with that is we are light beings, spiritual beings, having a human experience, and it is an honor and a privilege. What does that mean? And I don't want to keep this going very much longer, but it just means that we get to experience the contrast. So with Ivy, I get to experience the contrast. One, the love of having had her for 11 years in my life, and hopefully more years to come if we can figure this out, and if she is not ready to transition. And the sorrow of watching her struggle, sometimes not being able to breathe, not wanting to eat, and then getting so excited when our daughter comes and drives up, and according to an animal communicator, Lynette, our daughter, you can find her at cosmicmoves.com. She's an astrologer. But this animal communicator told Lynette and I that Lynette is Ivy's litter mate. That's how Ivy sees her. And so every time Lynette comes over to the house, she goes so crazy, just barking and so excited. So Lynette came over yesterday, and Ivy just went crazy, barking like she always does, and jumps down, runs down the stairs to go see her, and then she's just kind of pooped. And that doesn't, that's been happening more and more, that she just doesn't have a lot of energy. So there's just, there's so much going on. The common sense comes into it when you actually start thinking for yourself. I'm not looking for, I found a holistic vet finally. I'm not looking for the vet to save her, to save anything. I'm looking for help. I've been doing all kinds of research. I am an herbalist, and so I have been researching health for a long time. As I mentioned before, if you've been following me, you know that I'm very unconventional in the strategies that I look for, from Eastern medicine, Western medicine at times. It's not the go-to. And in emergency situations, if you get into an accident, or Ivy had a terrible bladder infection, and so antibiotics, that was the best I could do for her last week, just because she already couldn't breathe very well and had so many other things happening. And that was the kindest thing I could do, was to help her to move past that as quickly as possible. So but giving her, like, not soil-based probiotics, but probiotics from Living Stream's mission, which are not soil-based, but liquid. And so we're giving her every single opportunity that we possibly can. But that the common sense comes in, where I'm not looking for anything externally to save Ivy, save me, save anything. I am using my own research, my own brain, my own mind, meditating and finding out, like, what is the best thing, like, what would my enlightened self do to help Ivy? What would my enlightened self do to help myself and my emotions? And understanding that this is a contrast. This is a contrast that I get to experience. It's an honor and a privilege. Does it feel good all the time? No. Do I cry sometimes? Absolutely. That's the human side, and it's an honor and a privilege, again, as I said before, to be able to feel that contrast. Because when Lynette comes over and she barks and jumps for joy and all of that, it's joyful. So I get to experience that contrast. So I wanted to share that with you, because if you have a pet, or if you've had a pet, you understand, and you're like totally in love with your pet. You totally get it. You understand that they are part of the family, and it's very difficult. And the beautiful thing about all of it is the contrast. and that you get to experience that love, as difficult as it is to watch them transition or be sick or whatever it is that they do. When that's difficult. It's like a family member. You watch somebody with cancer and they go down, 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 and then some people just go up, up, up because they figure it out. They figure out that it all starts with emotions. So we're working with all of it, and I will keep you apprised as to how IB is doing. And I want to thank you for listening to me. This is definitely cathartic and helps me to think through my spirituality, my common sense, and my thinking, so that I am thinking on my own, that it's critical thinking. I'm not being told what to do, not even by the vet. I'm questioning the things that she offers and explaining why I will or will not incorporate something enough to even have her think about it, and she gives me her opinion, and we're working together to see the best course of action for IB. And it will be what it will be, and I am accepting of that, no matter how difficult it is. So, because there's a lot of hope too, because some days she's just doing really great. So I will keep you apprised as we go, and I want to thank you again for listening. My website is lennymotivates.com. I would love for you to sign up for my newsletter if you're not on it now. What I'm doing there is, apart from Wild and Free Healthy You, it is the high frequency love notes. And so basically there's a lot of, it's spirituality, but it's love, and it's happy things. And I will talk about IB on there, but basically it's uplifting, because if we are light beings, is there anything higher than being a light being that is of the one energy? Anything at all? It's beautiful. And when we transition, I don't know how you think, but my truth is that we reincarnate, and we have many past lives, and we get to decide if we want to come back here or not. And right now we are moving into, whether it be fourth or fifth density, I don't know. How can I possibly know? I just have my beliefs, and I do believe that we are ascending to wherever we're going. It's very, very beautiful. So long as we are service to others, there's going to be a lot of goodness that is coming our way. And I do believe that many good things are on the horizon, as difficult as it has been for so many. I do not believe there hasn't been one single person in this world globally that has not been affected by what has happened. But I also believe that what has happened in our world in the last, 19 months or however many months at this point, has been the catalyst for so much goodness to follow. It had to, you can call it break down if you want to, but it had to be shown. Truth had to be shown in order for the light, the truth, to show itself and become so obvious to so many. And while there are some who are still not thinking critically and going by still, watching TV, I should just say the media, the mainstream media, and still listening just the way they always did. I think most people are looking for their own truth and looking inside themselves. And that, my beautimous peeperoo, that is where the truth is, because that is where source resides. As within, so without. And basically what that means is you are everything. You are full, you are 100% complete, beautiful, and you don't need anything externally to complete you. You are complete. And you manifest from that place. So your thoughts, when I said your thoughts are things, they truly are moving energy. So when you think you're not good enough, then you're not. because that's your truth. When you know you're complete and you're good enough, then you are, because that's your truth. And you create your own reality. You create your own truth based on your beliefs. So you change your thinking, you change your beliefs, you change your story, you change everything. And Ivy and I are working on that together. So, so just to end on a light note, I want to thank you for listening today. And while this may not have a lot of complete thoughts, hopefully there's a little grain of or nugget of gold somewhere in there that will help you to think about how you are for yourself and with your pets, and like allowing Ivy, honoring her journey and honoring mine. And it's not easy. As a human, I would like my free will to say, you need to stay and you need to heal and you need to get better. That's up to Ivy. I'll just give her every single thing that I possibly can, from energetic healing to chemical to herbal to, well, I guess that's chemical too, but whatever I can, I'll give her absolutely every single thing that I possibly can to help her. So, and without putting my free will, trying to put my free will onto her and saying, you have to stay because mommy will cry if you leave. So, so that's kind of where it is. And I guess this went on a little longer than I thought, but I definitely love you and appreciate you. And I will be back to let you know how Ivy is doing. I would love to come back and say, wow, this tumor, if that's what it is, it's shrinking, because now, I'm using some frankincense. I'll tell you everything that I'm using, that I've been trying to use, and hopefully something that I share may help you if you have a pet and even a person that's interested in unconventional health, because unconventional health is really used to be conventional, used to be what people did. But there's all kinds of little things that you can do to get yourself healthier and keep yourself healthy and be proactive and practice preventative care rather than like sick care, right? When you're sick. And so we've been trying to do that with all of our animals and ourselves. But sometimes there's, who knows what it is, it can, if there's emotional trauma, who knows what it is that causes tumors and cancer. And I tend to think my truth is that it starts with emotions, and the emotions get suppressed, and then if you're not detoxifying every day, and then things, and externally you've got 5G and all kinds of stuff. You've got glyphosate. There's just so many things. Fluoride in the water. There's just so many things, and we've really tried to be very preventative with all of our animals and ourselves. But things happen, and so acceptance to me is the highest frequency, and so therefore I accept whatever happens. Doesn't mean that I'm going to be happy about it, but I know that no matter what happens on this planet, which is a planet of action, no matter what happens, it's going to be for my own good. It's going to be a learning experience, or it's going to open doors for something else, or whatever it is. It's going to be beautiful on the other side. So that's the acceptance, and I want to vibrate at that frequency, of that higher frequency. And that's important to me. So thank you again for listening, and we will talk to you next time. See ya.
Thanks for listening to the Wild and Free Healthy You podcast. I appreciate you so incredibly mucho. Make sure you always take care of you first, because your health is your number one asset. To listen to more podcasts, check out LinnyMotivates.com and follow me on Instagram @LinnyMotivates. Don't forget to share them with your family and friends. Remember to always be your biggest fan and your biggest cheerleader, because no one can love you more than you can. Take care of you. Ciao.